Award-winning international speaker, writer and founder of Rebranding HIV, Phindile Sithole is a young, dynamic businesswoman who has achieved so much in her age. After she found out that she was born with HIV, she took it upon herself to start Rebranding HIV. That's an organization that is focusing on providing tools to address the HIV/AIDS pandemic. She's in studio with us. It's so good to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good. So let's start at the beginning, where the idea of forming the organization called Rebranding HIV. Why? Why did you feel you needed to do that?
It was, I don't think it's something that happened overnight. It was gradual. It was after having numerous conversations with people who are my age and telling them about my status and realizing that a lot of people, whilst they knew about HIV, they couldn't internalize it.
Yeah.
And therefore they didn't understand it. And it hit me that whilst we talk about HIV a lot, we don't talk about it in the right way. And so I went to a branding seminar and they were talking about how you need to brand things in various ways in order for different groups of people to understand them. And I thought, well, maybe we should apply that to HIV and AIDS and any social issue, really, and so that people can really feel it and feel like, okay, this really could happen to me.
Yeah. So you were born HIV positive.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've lived your entire life and a very normal, healthy life? Or has it been a bit up and down?
It's been a bit up and down. At 19, I had a CD4 count of 2, which was my worst, and I was in hospital for a while. But after that, I've been pretty healthy ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you talk about HIV, that we look at the wrong aspects of HIV.
Yeah.
What are the aspects you think we should look at? What are the things that you are more trying to highlight than what is being highlighted right now?
I think definitely I try to take on a holistic approach to say HIV isn't just a physical manifestation but also something very emotional, which is something that a lot of people don't understand. For instance, when I found out that I was HIV positive, I was very depressed for a long time, and you kind of need a very strong support system. And a lot of the time people go to clinics and they get medication and they get a little bit of counseling, but they don't have the support at home, for instance, perhaps, or they don't have support from their friends or people who are around them. And also how to eat right and how to exercise and knowing really what are your ARVs, what are ARVs, how do they affect me as a human being, and how should I take them, and all those important little details which kind of ensure that you have a healthy and happy life.
Yeah. You as I said in the introduction, you're a speaker. You travel the world speaking about this particular topic. Where have you been? I mean, what type of audiences do you speak to?
Wow, I've spoken to various audiences. I spoke at the World AIDS Conference about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In the US in Washington. I've spoken for the Ford Foundation 20th anniversary, which was attended by various ministers. And I've spoken at the African Union a few times. Yeah, I've been everywhere.
So you've done that, you've spoken. And once you've finished speaking,
yeah,
do you get that sense from people in the audience that say, wow, I mean, I never thought about it that way, or this is a completely different way of looking or addressing of HIV, because I mean the whole issue of rebranding HIV, something that you've come up with,
yeah,
is that the response that you seem to get a lot of the times?
Yes, certainly, and it's such a simple idea as well, and people always say to me, that's so interesting. I mean, how did you come about that idea? Applying branding strategies basically to a social aspect, and but it's great. I'm glad that people are catching on and they're using it in their own work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been successful.
What is this? What are the I'm going to dig deeper into this branding issue. What is it particularly? Give me an example, an actual example of when you talk about rebranding HIV. What is it? Something that you've taken and run with quite massively?
Okay, so firstly, to describe branding and what branding really is. The idea that I had was the same way Tastic Rice, for instance, and I saw this happening actually, advertises differently in Soweto as they do to Sandton. That's how you need to take on HIV. You can't speak about the same virus in the same way in different communities because there's different socioeconomic issues that are in play that a lot of people aren't aware of or are aware of but aren't using, to their advantage. And so one of the things that we do that we just finished a project with Shell, the oil company, and we worked with their Joburg and their Cape Town office. And we take the demographics of the office, we speak to a few employees in the office, and we kind of get a feel for, you know, where they come from, what are their religious views, etc., etc., and how much do they know about HIV. And we take that and we mold it and we make something unique for that office, for that particular group of people. So then it actually hits home with them. Even the speakers that we choose. For instance, let's say an office in Cape Town has more women. So we'll have more women speakers who are age appropriate and who people can relate to, things like that.
Fantastic, and that's, I mean, that's a clever way of taking it and putting a message across, because you're absolutely right. You cannot talk to the same audience in different areas. They're completely different ways of lives. Your website is rebrandinghiv.co.za, is that right?
rbhiv.co.za.
Okay, so it's, you just take those first letters. I'm on your website. I mean, it's it's great. It's people must go and visit it and get an idea of exactly what it is that you do and the companies that you work with, because I mean, I think that's what it's about. Working with corporates, working with companies to try to get the message out there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a pleasure having you. Keep up the unbelievable work. Visit the website, rbhiv.co.za, Rebranding HIV. That's what our guest here in studio is doing around the world. Phindile Sithole Spong, who is the CEO of Rebranding HIV, living with HIV and living a beautiful life. Look at you. You look amazing. You look absolutely stunning. Thank you for being our guest here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Let's